Welcome to Rokk Around the Clock, daily cloud gaming news live at the same time, Monday to Friday. But first, if you're new to the show, please subscribe and hit the bell. If you'd like to support the channel, why not hit the join button on the channel homepage and become a member of Team Rokk. Yo! Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening almost. It's Guten Abend, as my good friend Morgan Live, and of course Barclay when he turns up, as well as my good friends in Germany, Deutschland, would say. And I hope you guys had a great weekend. I can't believe it's another week starting off again. The last week of the month. Where's it all going? I want to know. When you're at school, when you're a kid and you're at school, days go on forever, don't they? It's like, oh, when's school ever going to end? I hate it. And it never did. It never ended. And then you get to be like in your 50s or your 30s or your 40s. And it's like, oh, another year's gone. Oh, another Prime Minister in Britain. Oh, and another one. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. I've got yogurts in the fridge that last longer than our Prime Ministers. How bizarre is that? Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Lots of gaming and stuff. What did I do? I finished Scorn, completed Scorn. It's not that long, actually. I thought there was still a load more to come because I'd seen YouTubers saying how to defeat all the bosses in Scorn. Well, there's only one. So I'm thinking, hang on, guys, is that a little bit clicky debatey? You know what I'm saying here? But anyway, got through it all. It was all good. Enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's only about 7 to 8 hours, depending how long it takes you to do all the various puzzles and things. So some people will take a little longer, others will take a little less time. It's kind of around there. And yeah, I thought it was okay. Bearing in mind, most of us, if we've got Xbox Game Pass, haven't paid for it anyway. But if you have, it's only kind of a AA price. It's about $30 or something. So it's not the end of the world, is it? Look at all you fantastic people in the chat. I've got something very weird's going on in my chat. I can't see you. Let me refresh this little bit of screen and see if I can see you all. I can, well, we get the starting to come in. We got, it already exists. He's dobbing the cap to in lead. What do you think, guys? I've got a new layout. You know what I'm like. I've always been like this. I was famous for it. I can't sit still for 5 minutes. I've got to move stuff around. I don't know whether it's like a psychic feng shui or something, but I can't be doing with stuff. So I've moved all my stuff over there, and I've just put a little picture or three up behind me and lit it up. It's a bit cleaner. You know what I'm saying? And also, it's given me more room to come back because I was having to be really... Yeah, it is a bit OCD geek. I think it genuinely is. But you know what? Aren't we all a little bit OCD? I always say we're all a little bit on the spectrum. You know, what does that mean? I think we're all a little bit there, aren't we? I was going to go and bring you all up, but I've accidentally set the chat up so that it gets rid of you in the bit that I select you from after a few seconds, which is a bit annoying. I wish I hadn't done it now. I'm just thinking if I was really quick and I was able to talk and nobody noticed. Tiptoe through the tulips. I watched I'm going to be on the Renaissance Men podcast this coming Friday, all things being well, and it's going to be their Halloween edition. So they set me some homework to go and watch a film, kind of 50-minute mini movie on Disney Plus called The Werewolf at Night or something. I actually quite enjoyed it. It was like an old RKO movie meets the Thriller video by David Carpenter. Or was it John Carpenter? I can't remember. The chap that made Coffins, anyway. But I thought it was all right. I did. I quite enjoyed it. Messages fade out when hiding. That's the one. Right, good. Let me just copy this. And doopy-doo. I can change it up here. And nobody's going to be any the wiser. Except for me, because I'll actually be able to see your comments. Awesome stuff. There we go. It was really good, Phipps said. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I loved the premise of them making a kind of Lon Chaney Jr. and Bela Lugosi old school 1930s horror movie. I love that idea. And a little bit of humour in there and some kung fu, and it was good. I thought it was all right. I've been playing a load of games. So I finished Scorn, and then I discovered, because I've cancelled my Ubisoft Plus account, only temporarily, because no big stuff's coming out till next year. And I thought, why am I paying $14 a month when I'm not really playing? Of course, when you cancel something like that and they say, okay, well, you've got until the 11th of November, you start thinking, oh, hang on, did I finish all the DLCs in that game? So I went back to Phoenix, because I love Phoenix Rising, Immortals Phoenix Rising. And the music is brilliant. It reminds me of the holidays, Christmas, either last year or the year before, I forget now. So it's one of those kind of Pavlovian things where you think, oh, I love this. Anyway, when I fired it up, I realised I thought I played all the DLCs, but there was one I hadn't played, which actually I think is the best one. And it's like, it's like a kind of top down. You can move the camera around, but you can't move it up and down. You see my point? And that was good. I enjoyed that. Anyway, so I'm playing that. Yeah. And I tell you what else I've done, guys. I've decided to send my Steam Deck back. Pauses for dramatic music. Werewolf by Night. Thanks, Phipps. They're starting to come through now. Brilliant. Because I don't know. I sat there this morning and I thought, I haven't actually fired it up for days. And when I do, it's a tiny little screen, and I've kind of got to bring it close up and put on my binoculars to see it and everything. I know, Ray, I know. And there are lots of people saying similar. Why'd you do that, Rokk? Well, it turns out, if I was quick, I could actually get a refund and they would take it back. So I thought, what the heck? And then I got out my Chromebook, and I thought, what am I doing? I've got a Chromebook here that plays GeForce Now, and it plays xCloud, and it's got a 13-point-something inch screen. It's 60 frames per second. It's got a higher resolution than the Steam Deck. What? I've got one already. I don't need... And I could put it on my lap and push it back a bit, and I don't have to worry about docks and stuff. So that's what I thought. A Steam pack, exactly. And look at this. Geek has cancelled Boosteroid. Yeah, I'm mixed. I've got reservations about Boosteroid, I've got to be honest. What is Geek saying? I have GF 3080. Performance isn't as good as Boosteroid. That's interesting. Well, how can that possibly be? 3080 is 4K and Boosteroid's 1080p. But you're saying the performance. I think a lot of it is down to how close you are to a specific server. So I was having this conversation over the weekend with Christopher, forgot his surname, the guy that did the brilliant expanded Stadia plugin. And he's based in Germany, I think. And he was saying that, he's on Central EU server and he gets lots of issues. And then I'm over on EU West. and I get no issues at all. I get brilliant quality. I get no performance issues. I never have to keep logging back in. I genuinely think it has to do with a number of those issues, possibly even if you are in a very dense area. So, in terms of contention and calls on the servers, they may have to mete out the connections more than they do for me down here. I don't know. I've actually raised the question with the GeForce Now folk because I'm interested to know. There's a few that are quite interested in finding out. So if I do find out any more, I'll let you know. And then see, how are you, mate? He's got no issues with any of the cloud services. I don't either, Aaron. I don't. It's quite odd, isn't it? It's a shame that so many people have such a mixed experience because you can't judge it. You can't say, if you plug in a console, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that it's a lower resolution because you don't have a 4K TV, or your HDMI lead's a bit knackered. But in the main, you're all going to kind of have the same experience, and this is the difficulty. But of course, it's no different either with PC gaming. So I've got a fairly reasonable rig. It's got, I don't know what it's got, 64 gig of RAM, it's got a 3080 card, it's got a decent CPU, several cores in it, but I still get problems. And I was reading yesterday, and somebody was suggesting to look at the amount of leads from the power unit into the 3080 card. And they were saying that this guy put 2 leads in and it worked a treat. And I'm thinking, I didn't even realise you could do that or would want to do it. So I need to have a look at that. But, even with PCs, you can have issues, can't you? It's not even just necessarily a case of proximity. But it is a shame. And it's a real shame that some people just don't get a great experience. And it's difficult for me and others who can say, well, we never get any issues, because it doesn't really help their problem. And I just wish that the cloud service providers did more to try and help. So build in tools into the applications that can say, okay, we've had a look at your local network and it looks like you've got a couple of IP addresses clashing, or you're too far away from the router or whatever. It can't be that hard, can it? Or just to let you know, there's a lot of people using the server right now that you're up with, so we may have some problems. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I think people would have more confidence in. I don't know. But then you see you've got Primo. Leo, he is based in Hawaii. He's been able to do Luna and Stadia and GeForce Now, and like his nearest servers are thousands of miles away on the west coast of America, and he doesn't get any issues, or not a great deal. It's quite weird. Oh yes. What else we got here? Get rid, says Stuart. You'll get rid of what, mate? I've been to the doctors. What more do you want from me? Al Davis, how are you, my friend? And I've got to go and change the video at the end of our rock players. I realised I sneaked an E into your name. I'm sure you noticed, and you're just too polite to mention it. But now I've remembered that. I must do it this week before the show on Thursday. He's completed Resident Evil 2 via Boosteroid this morning. So, this is my concern with Boosteroid. It's not really a concern, because I think at the end of the day, it's caveat emptor, right? Buyer beware. As long as you know what you're buying, it's up to you. So what you basically get with Boosteroid is when you log in, you go to your Steam account. And while you're in your Steam account, you choose the game you want to play, and they've either got it installed on their servers and it fires up, or they don't and you have to install it. That's kind of how I see it. So really, it's probably closer to Shadow as a virtual PC than it is to, say, GeForce Now. Funnily enough, because GeForce Now don't offer you that capability. They have games that have been certified and ported to their platform to make sure that they have touch controls, or that they integrate with their system, that they integrate with the login and everything else. And if you're playing a game on GeForce Now, it's not suddenly going to disappear, and you're not suddenly going to have your account whipped away from you, which are all possibilities with Boostroid, which is why I say not an issue if it works for you and you're aware of what it is and how it works. Their biggest problem is saying that they've got FIFA or other games which they may not actually have installed, but they know that if you own it, you can install it. So that's kind of the worst thing. But I suspect their model will change over time. I mean, they're doing very well at the moment, from what I can gather, which means they're building, they're building a war chest of cash, so that maybe they'll change, maybe they'll alter their model to make it more conformist. But that's kind of what you get, and that's the key. Just, buyer beware, caveat emptor. Caveat emptor, man. And how are you, Ant, my good fellow? I hope you had a good weekend, buddy. I see you back doing the games with the wife again. That's awesome. They're always a great watch. Boostroid is also currently working on upgrading. Yeah, well, it's interesting actually, Vet, because someone asked them the other day on Twitter about bringing 4K, and we all know that the people that man the social are probably the last people that actually get to find anything out. But it was definitely, the inference was they weren't rushing, or that they had no immediate plans. So I'm not sure what's going on. But yeah, they use NVIDIA cards, don't they? And of course, they're cheaper than the 3080, but currently they're not as cheap as the priority tier of GeForce Now, which offers you the same 1080p. So horses for courses is what I say. Christopher Clay from Hamburgo. Yes, I think that's his name. I know who you mean. You're on about the Stadia guy, aren't you? Yeah, so he wrote a really good, I may have it in our little bookmarks in a minute, but he wrote a really good review of only, let me think, what did he cover? He covered GeForce Now, he covered xCloud, he covered Boostroid, and one other. Oh, was it Amazon Luna? No, it wasn't, because he can't play it any more than the rest of us in Europe can. But he didn't do Black Nut, and he may not have. I don't know. There was a couple of them, but what do you do, guys? Vet says 4K 120 to 240 frames per second is in the works. Well, I'll see it when it comes, and I'll praise them when it happens, and we'll test it and see how it goes. But we've heard from all these guys in the past about what they're doing. Until I actually see it rolled out, we'll encourage them, and we'll see how it goes. Demi, Anya, how are you? I hope you had a great weekend taking photos of the virtual world. Lovely to see you. Thanks for popping in. Boostroid isn't terrible for me. It just isn't as good as GFN. Yeah, I think I misread what you said earlier. What did you say? I have... Yeah, I misread. So what you were actually saying was GFN is better. Yeah? So I have GFN 30 and the performance quality isn't as good on Boostroid. Yes, I read it as isn't as good as Boostroid. Sorry, that's when I went off on a tangent. No, well, it's not, because it's 1080. But, they now have American servers employed, I believe. I don't know who provides the service. It could be AWS. I have no idea, to be honest. I've been in, yeah, I know you, mate. I know that you are, you're up there with them. But they also said on, I think it was on Duncan's show, where it said, we're about to bring out 4K. I can't think, it may have been Duncan's show, and it never happened. And I'm not saying it ain't happening, but until it happens, and then we see what the price is, and we see that it works and everything else. 6 active data centers in the US. Thanks, my friend. That's why I'm saying, I'm not saying don't take out a Boostroid account. I would never do that. They're not doing anything illegal. They're just, they're just marketing it in a way that could be a little bit misleading or confusing. And I'm just saying that if they work for you because they've got games like Scorn, for example, which you can't get on GeForce. No, you can get it on GeForce Now. I beg your pardon, it is on GeForce Now. Sorry. But they do have games that you can't get on there because of the way they work. The same as Shadow. Shadow PC has every game that you can play, every single game on Steam on Shadow PC. Absolutely every single game, as long as you own it, you can play it on Shadow PC. Well, I'm not lying, but it's a virtual PC. You've still got to install it. Well, it's kind of how Boostroid works. 24 frames per second would just make me vomit. I'd like to try it and see. I've got a 144 hertz 1440p monitor, and I've got to be honest, I don't see a massive difference between 60 and 120 on that monitor. I do on my phone though, on my OLED phone, I really see the difference there. But for some reason on that monitor, I don't really see a huge difference. But you definitely see a difference with 30. Keyboard warriors make cloud gaming companies into bad guys. Well, maybe. I don't see myself as a keyboard warrior. I've got nothing to win or lose. And don't forget, we did do a live review. And the first thing I found was, which I'd never heard anybody else mention, is that you just load into your Steam account and you sit there thinking, is it loading the game? What have I got to do? And I felt that was confusing. And they should say to you, this is what you need to do. Once you get into your Steam account, choose your game and it will play. But as I say, each to their own. Good afternoon, young John. How are you, sir? Good to see you, dude. Heard that Epic is working on their own platform to play games. I wouldn't be surprised. The predictions a while back were that all the major studios that have got a ton of games are ultimately going to be looking to make them available to play. Just makes logical sense, doesn't it? I totally expect them to do that. Blaine, how are you? Wish Microsoft or Nvidia would do a family subscription. Yeah, I agree. Still looking for a family replacement for Stadia. Black Nut is good and all, but Xbox and Nvidia have newer games. Yeah, that's the downside with Black Nut for sure. They have great family tools, but the games are, a lot of them are kind of made for mobile. I'll tell you something I did discover at the weekend, Blaine. I popped into Black Nut on my TV, and I noticed that it launched me into a game. It was called something like Lost in the Forest or something. It was quite a good game. And it was really blurry, and it was clearly 720 at best. But Black Nut does pump out at 1080p. So I went into the game and interestingly with Stadia, you never had an option to change the res because they fixed it at that res. And also with GeForce Now, if you're playing on a 1080p monitor or you've set GeForce Now to be maxed at 1080p, the games tend to stop at that point as well. Black Nut allows you to take it all the way up to 4K, even though they're streaming at 1080p. So I thought, well, I'll do it then. So I pushed it all the way up to 4K 60, I think it was, which obviously it's stopping at 1080, but it was a lot clearer. So it's worth thinking and looking at that if you are playing in Black Nut. But a lot of their games, I think, are kind of made for Android, made for mobile cell phone games. And then they've got some half-decent titles. I think when we looked at it last, I made the point that Stadia, in fairness, gave you 6 games for free every month, of which one was probably a banger, and then the others were kind of curated indies, and they were really good, but they weren't for everybody, right? So I kind of made the same assessment of Black Nut, that if you think of them a little bit like the way Stadia worked, they actually put new games up every week. Stadia obviously was once a month. With the Pro thing, suddenly feels like my filtering has dropped. Let me turn it down a bit. So yeah, so I think if you look at it from that perspective, it's closer. I don't know why there should be a filter on my mic. Does it sound okay to you guys? I'm getting the feedback here. I've just turned it down, actually. So that's weird. Why am I hearing it? Let me just check on this a second. That is odd. I shouldn't be hearing this at all. There we go. All right. I'll do it that way. You should still be hearing it anyway. Yeah, so look at it from that point of view. So from a straight Stadia to Black Nut, I think it's the best solution for families outside of the US. I would still go Amazon Luna if I was in the States. And once Amazon Luna push outside of the States, I think that's, thanks Geek, I think that's what I'm really keen on doing a proper comparison. I tweeted earlier today, I think it was today, or maybe yesterday, saying that I've come to the conclusion that if you're looking for the closest thing to Stadia, Blacknut and Amazon Luna, at this moment in time, they're your closest choices. In terms of curated games, safe, family safe, and don't forget Blacknut gives you 5 or 6 accounts as well, and you can all play the same game concurrently, which you can never do with Stadia. However, if you're more of a serious gamer, then I would definitely go down the xCloud route for all the latest games. You know, you've got Plague Tale Requiem and Scorn, 2 amazing titles, and many, many more to come. But I would also get myself a GeForce Now account because, of course, again, you are limited to a couple of hundred games and they're rotating. So if you own games on Steam, I would definitely get myself a GeForce Now account so that you've got that as your backup for Steam games and games that aren't coming to Game Pass. And it's the cheapest way to buy those games anyway. So that's kind of become my de facto. As for everybody else with Boosteroid and with Utomic and all the others, I think each of those has a use case dependent on you as a gamer. But generically, by default, that's my recommendation would be xCloud plus GeForce Now, which is not, you're looking at about, if you went for priority, you're looking at about £16, $17, $18 a month for those two. Which, look at the games you get on Game Pass. I mean, it's a ridiculous value. If you can afford it, definitely go 3080 because the experience is gaming PC quality, no question. But it's a load of old dosh. Yeah, Blacknut. Hey, Barclay. Guten Abend, mein Herr. Mein Freund. Yeah, Blacknut's often blurry and it has no multiplayer in lots of games. Yeah, it kind of... look, when Luna expands out, I think Blacknut have really got to take a hard look at themselves if they're going to compete. And I am still convinced that Luna is going to move out. I just wish they'd get on with it. All sorts of reasons why they may not be. But I think that that's going to be our thing. A very long, stuck in the welcome screen introduction. Let's get over to... I'll tell you why when we get over there to News Laptop. See it now. Thank you for that, Martin. Sound was meaningless to me, my friend. Can't hear you was much better. Thank you, Geek. I was, yes, there's a reason for it. But anyway, we can hear me now, so that's good. Yeah, not a huge amount of news, guys, I'm afraid. So for a rare time, I thought we'd have a quick look at Utomic. Utomic, you guys will remember, is we talked about this the other day, but they are... I think there's a review of them actually on Cloud Dosage, but they're basically appearing on the TV stream gaming hubs right now. And for about $10, you get access to something like 1,600 downloadable games, similar quality in fairness to Blacknut, and then about 150 cloud games, which, similar to about xCloud. Anyway, they have got Wolfstride coming up. And again, I think a lot of their games you probably would have never heard of because there's deals being done with a lot of the mobile developers. There's a massive amount of Android mobile-only game developers who are more than happy to take tuppence in the pound to have their games on these platforms, which is why, you will see libraries of thousands of games. 90% of them you'll have no interest in at all. And that's understandable. That was where Stadia excelled because they may not have had all the best games, but the games that were on there were heavily curated for quality. Is Blacknut coming to Scandinavia? I don't know, my friend. You'll have to ask them. They're pretty good at I mean, you should be able to get hold of them, I would have thought. Have you tried accessing their account? The problem is they don't have a free account, do they? So you'd have to pay like €7.50 or something to try it. But I'd be amazed if you couldn't get access to them, even if the servers aren't based in Norway. We saw this with Stadia. A lot of countries that didn't officially have Stadia, but you could still fire it up. Go and give that like button a punch. Oh, thank you, my friend. Give his old like button a punch right in the guts. Anyway, Wolf Stride. No idea what it is. I'm sure it's pretty cool. It's got a 90s vibe. Hidden Verse, Divided Kingdom, Mermaid Adventures, The Frozen Time. I'm clicking on links to see what happens here. £5.99 a month. Play this game and 1,405 others in one subscription. $5.99 a month is, excuse me, for the PC games, right? So, yeah, you've got access to those, but you've got to download them. If you want the cloud games, you've got to add another, I think it goes up to £8 or £9, basically. I mean, I think it's okay. Don't get me wrong. I again, like Booster, I'm not saying don't do it. There you go, $7.99 family plan. And available on the cloud. Family Plus Cloud is £11 for 4 users. I mean, that's pretty good value. I'd be interested in getting anybody's opinion that has given it a go. They've got similar games to Black Nut, I would say. But I haven't tried them. I must reach out to them and see if I can get hold of an account actually and give it a proper look. Alex says they should just bring all games to mobile. Phones are very powerful. Yeah, well, not to download them, but I mean, why do that if you can't just whack them out on cloud? And I suppose in a way, Alex, that's what you can do, isn't it? You can get yourself a GeForce account or even an xCloud account, Boosteroid, Blacknut, any of those guys you can play these days on your phone. So most of those games are there. Christopher says, hey Christopher, how are you, dude? Atomic has a lot of indies. I mean, a lot. Nothing wrong with that, but that's all they have. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they've got 1,400 games, isn't there? And this is the same for anyone who's telling you they've got more than a couple of hundred games, like I think Blacknut's got 500 or 600. Well, you know that most of those are going to be fillers. It's no different to when you buy an Ibiza music collection, a 12 CD music collection, and it's got, Avicii and a couple of other bangers at the front, and the rest of them are like, who? And it's just music that's banged out automatic. It's going to be the same, isn't it? YouTubers' life. And they always put their best games on when they're selling it, as you'd expect, Through the Woods. I think that might be the game that I was having a look at on Black Nut the other day. Yeah, it was this one. Looks better in these screenshots than it did there. Definitely want to give it a go. I'm going to reach out to them and find out what their thoughts are in terms of us getting hold of an account and see what we think. Hey William, how are you, my brother? Hope you're keeping well, dude. Hope you had a lovely weekend, my friend. What are you playing today, dude? What have you got kicking around on your channel in 28 minutes? Before we go to the bookmarks, which is we've really not got to them recently, and I reckon the juiciest stuff is in there, I thought we'd have a quick look at The Verge today. Now, some of this is cloud-based, most of it isn't, but I thought it was interesting anyway. A couple of quick ones. So Fallout 4 is going to go next gen. Have you not noticed how all studios have suddenly decided to go back over their old stock, bang up the textures, tweak the settings a little bit and push it out at almost full price as a remaster? And I'm not 100% sure that I like that. I see that Uncharted, they pushed out Uncharted to PC last week, and I think it was all the Uncharted games. It's been their worst selling, not worst, I think it sold okay, but it's been their least highest selling PlayStation game that Sony have pushed out yet. I don't know why. I love the Uncharted games. Of course, I had the film not so long ago, which I quite enjoyed, but it was a bit hit and miss, I think. And But anyway, didn't do as well as they'd hoped. And I just wonder whether it's a backlash. People are like, stop throwing your old stuff at us. Give us God of War Ragnarok or Callisto, which they are, by the way. Actually, that was something I meant to cover off. My big old, my big old thing. What is your big old thing, Rokk? You know, the big thing, my big giveaway thing, which has been doing amazing business. So we'll come on to that in a second. I don't want to divert, but you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I don't know whether it's because COVID and all that stuff, but I kind of feel like, you know what, everybody carried on working from home. This whole excuse about not being able to get games finished because everybody was working from home, I don't buy that. It's not like they all just put their feet up or anything. That's quite interesting. Steam hits 30... Oh, you can't see it. You naughty Rokk. Let's bang it up a tad. Steam hits 30 million concurrent users. Wowzer. The gaming platform's latest milestone was achieved this weekend, with games like Counter-Strike alone achieving over 1 million daily concurrent players. It's taken Steam 8 months to beat its own record of 29 million concurrent players back in January. That's an amazing achievement, isn't it? See, this is why we were saying the other day, I don't understand why people don't tick a box to say they want their game released on GeForce Now as well, because it's cost them nothing. Nothing. Yeah, that old... what do you reckon to that, Alex? You see, I never played the original, but I've seen the remaster, and it looks a lot like the original to me, and I think unless you were really invested in the original back in the day, and you want to play it to get those kind of vibes that you felt from that game, so I never did. So to me, I just come at it and go, well, it feels so dated. I just don't think I could play it. But I'm interested in what you guys think. Anyway, Bayonetta's former voice actor, blah, blah, not much there. Discord PS5 voice integration. Interesting. If you've got a PS5, you'll be able to integrate voice chat from Discord when you stream from it, which is cool. I wish that they would give you the option to stream to YouTube and Twitch. I also wish there was a working browser on the... Crikey, if they had a working browser on the PlayStation, get this, that could play Xbox games via xCloud, that would be a kick in the old teeth, wouldn't it, to Game Pass? To the series. You'd have the whole thing on a PlayStation, because Xbox, and I love my Series X, don't get me wrong here, but you can only stream to Twitch, and there's ways around it for a couple of dollars a month, but YouTube is an option within PlayStation, so they could do PlayStation streaming to YouTube and Twitch at the same time with Discord integration, so you can have all your friends and stuff in Discord chatting, which would be amazing. This is coming here. And they introduced a brilliant browser. You see, Sony just fearful about losing 50 pence. That's their problem. Oh, well, if we bring a browser in and you end up playing on GeForce or xCloud, you're not going to buy games here, are you? Well, all the evidence is not the case. Actually, you try it there, you buy it on the PlayStation because it's the same price, but so short-sighted. Right, that'll do for there. Let's get over to the bookmarks. Young Rokk has a tweet. Young Rokk has a tweet in the bookmarks. Bless him. So this is what I was saying earlier. This is a little bit of a joke, to be honest, but it made me chuckle. So yeah, I decided to send back the old Steam Deck. And that left me thinking, I've still got my dock that I bought. What can I do with it? So I took my Asus Chromebook, which you can fold in half. And it's brilliant when it's folded in half. It's a little tablet, which is a really neat tablet, actually. And then you've got this kind of 14-inch screen, which is 1080p 60, although I discovered later this afternoon, because I brought it in and connected the dock up to my 1440 monitor, and suddenly I had two screens, and it was running at 1440 and 1080. I was thinking, blimey, this thing's better than I thought it was. But anyway, got the old Xbox controller working on it and fired up GeForce Now, and there it is, look, and it literally worked. It's got power pass through. I put HDMI out, and that comes out from here as well. and you've got your USB port, so you can put a camera on there and stuff. I was quite impressed, to be honest. I was pretty impressed. And then on the same tweet, here it is. Here I am playing Immortals Phoenix Rising on the Tut Chromebook. And then I just thought, why would I want to pay $350 or whatever it is, £350 for a Steam Deck when I can do all this? I can do it all on my little Chromebook. So that's what I'm thinking anyway. And then young Tom Warren here, an Xbox Guide UI is coming to Xbox Cloud Gaming soon. It's available if you enable the preview features. So I'm guessing what this means is that if you go into xCloud, you can have all the options. I think this is what he means. Actually, I did think I knew what he meant at the time, and now I've kind of Guide UI. So I think what it means is that you can have a separate UI for cloud if you're in cloud, rather than going back to, oh, I don't know. What does it mean, guys? I thought I had my head around that one, and now I can't think of it anymore. I'm sure you chaps know. Ah, yes, Vet, I have a tip, my friend. I might do a video on this because I was getting a bit of stuttering. And I tried different resolution settings and stuff, and I was thinking, oh, it's still pretty much. So I Googled it, and actually there is a setting in the Chromebook itself. You can change a flag, which is to do with video decoding or encoding. And if you disable it so that it's not using hardware, it suddenly worked really well. I'll hook it out for you, my friend. That's why I brought the Chromebook in, because I was thinking about covering it off. But yeah, once I'd done that, it was working really well. So I might do a little video on that for people that are thinking of using Chromebooks and they get it a bit stuttery. Also, I think the older the Chromebook, the harder it's going to be to keep up with refresh rates and stuff. So, but I retweeted a video at the weekend. This guy did a really good review of the Logitech G and the new gaming Chromebooks, and his thoughts were that basically you can use GeForce Now any way you want to. It's designed to work on anything, so he couldn't see the point in paying $600-700 for a specific gaming Chromebook when you could, if you're that desperate, buy a low-end gaming PC and use it for streaming GeForce Now. I mean, he made some pretty good points, I thought. Oh, here we go. That Xbox news was posted by my friend Audi. He also posted a video of how he found... Well, what does it mean then, mate? That's very nice to know. But what does it mean, brother? Yeah, but I just want to make sure no one else has told me. Hey, Rudigs, how are you, buddy? No. Crow, mate, the Steam Deck is amazing. It is a stunning piece of kit. And just the same as me saying about Boosteroid, I am not at any point saying it is not worth the money, but it's user cases. And I'm very lucky because I can come in here and I can play my games on a television. I've got a big TV in here, big 4K TV. I've got a 1440 monitor and a 4K monitor. And I can play on my LG television because my wife rarely sits down and my kids are off at university. So for me, I don't have many instances where I can't get to a big screen to play my games. Yeah. So purely from my point of view, I just sat there and thought, I haven't used it for nearly a week. And is it going to be one of those things that just gathers dust? So I thought, I'll get it back. I'll get the money, and then I'm quite keen on getting one of those amazing vlogging sticks that makes itself invisible. So you walk along and the stick's invisible, and then it kind of focuses in on you and stuff, and it does like a big 360. I'm quite keen on one of those. Again, I don't know if I'd use it, but I love the idea of going for little walks and stuff and just doing this. So I might do that. What was the actual news, Vet? I'm keen to know what it actually means, the Guide UI for xCloud. Samsung Gaming has, yeah, I thought this was quite interesting. I'm going to take it down a little smidge here, guys, so that, there we go. So these guys were publishing the fact that the Gaming Hub, their Samsung Gaming Hub, they've added a horror games category. Now, that's a bit of a whoopee-doo, except I'm loving the fact that somebody is clearly curating content and thinking about context within their gaming hub. Now, I can't see the LG Gaming Hub, or my LG, unfortunately, because it's a C8 and I think it's like 2021, so it's too old. But if you've got a new LG or a new Samsung and they're doing that, I think that's brilliant. I'm keen to know, actually, guys, if you, excuse me, if you do have one of the newer TVs, what's it like using GeForce Now or xCloud or whatever on those? Is it as good as a dedicated streaming stick, like a Fire Stick, or the old Google Chromecast with TV, or Shield Pro? Is it as good as those, or does it leave you a bit, is it a bit lacking? Keen to know. Thanks for that. It was to show that Xbox and Microsoft were getting close to adding chats to X. No, not the Discord thing, dude. I know about that. What I'm talking about, let me go back up here, is this. So the chat thing, yes, I know, that's all to do with Discord. It's this, the Xbox Guide user interface is coming to Xbox Cloud Gaming soon. It's available if you enable the preview features. And then Tom shows, oh wow, it's a bit titchy. Tom shows a little video of him. There we go. What's he going? It's his little video which says preview feature, but it's not, that's him just showing you how you can choose it, I think. See, I think what it is, it's like, instead of having to go out of cloud, back to the Xbox, choose another game, and come back again, you can stay in the cloud environment so that you have like an almost Xbox in the cloud experience. I think that's what it means. That, for me, I think that's now as I think about it, I think that's what I was thinking before. For me, what that just cements yet again, and I keep saying this, is how by stealth, glacially, Microsoft are very, very clearly moving to ditch the Xbox hardware and move everybody to a browser stroke app-based xCloud experience where for your Game Pass you don't need to own an Xbox. And we know this is happening, you can play the games you own as well. They're bringing this out soon. So if you'd ever bought Halo 3 or whatever, and it isn't in the xCloud rotation, you can play it. And no hardware is needed anymore, guys, except a controller and something to look at it on. Yeah? Yes, and they're bringing chat features to the cloud. Oh, okay. Not Discord related. Thanks, Vet. Just sending messages without having to use another device. Very nice. Yeah, you can see where they're going, mate, can't you? And I tell you what, it is flustering Sony. Flustering them it is. What else? Oh, this is the guy here. Chris Clay, thank you. Who was it? Crow? Was it you, Crow, that mentioned it, or Phipps earlier? This is the boy. So yeah, he wrote an article on his little cloud gaming review. So he did GeForce Now and xCloud and PS Plus, plus Shadow and Boosteroid. There you go. Oh, and Luna. Okay. I don't think he did Black Nut though. No. So his thoughts were interesting and definitely worth a read. I did retweet it. Couple of the thoughts, you see, again, he says about how for him, he found it annoying that he had to keep logging into GeForce Now. And this raised the whole conversation about, but it doesn't happen for me. And then, you know, you're literally getting some people tweeting saying, no, I never have that experience. And then other people saying, yeah, I get that all the time as well. And it doesn't seem to be consistent. And I think that's a real shame. And there's no answer to it, or at least I've not been given one from NVIDIA GeForce. Now, and I have asked, apparently they're going to have a session with an engineer at some point with the ambassadors, and we can ask those kinds of questions. So I know a few people have asked it, they're quite keen. But it's a good little review. I mean, he kind of sums it up. His recommendation is GeForce Now overall. And obviously he comes from the Stadia point of view, so he was looking at this as where do I go as a Stadian? And he says, yeah, the answer for him was GeForce Now. What service should I recommend? So it boils down to if you already own a gaming PC, etc. And this is interesting. Other services I can't recommend, and he really rips into Boosteroid. Cloudplay tested Boosteroid, and pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong, which was my experience, to be honest. The performance switched from unplayable due to latency performance to decent. I never got as far as playing a game, so I can't really criticise them on that front. Instead of starting a given game via Steam, Boosteroid simply starts Steam, not the game itself. Nothing stops you from installing any other game via that Steam client, including titles that are removed from the storefront and which are supposed to be removed from the service, which was interesting, in general due to previous legal issues. The service oftentimes didn't use the currently selected language and instead opens logins and sign-ups in Russian. It's probably Cyrillic as opposed to Russian, because I think I'm right in saying they are Eastern European. Is that right, Vet? I don't think they're Ukrainian, are they? But they are maybe Bulgarian or something. So yeah, I doubt it's Russian. It's Cyrillic, which is... They all use the Cyrillic alphabet, basically. So it's probably just that. That's defaulted to their stuff. The service oftentimes, further research shows the service likely works similar to GeForce Now before switching. Oh, sorry. The service worked similarly to GeForce Now before switching to opt-in May this year. Most, if not all, the games are simply provided to the user without requesting permission from publishers and developers. On request, example by Microsoft, games are simply removed from promotion. So Microsoft say don't, and they take them down. It's fair enough. The storefront, as well as not being pre-installed anymore to avoid legal issues, and that's where you have to install them yourself. The service doesn't restrict the user from installing them manually, though. The entire service pretty much sounds and currently works like it's made. This is, to be fair, again, this is his opinion. Don't shoot me here. The entire service pretty much sounds and currently works like it's made to avoid as many issues as possible for the longest time to make the most cash. I mean, I think that's unfair. Before it eventually crashes into legal issues. Said issues could very easily result in your own licenses for games being restricted. I think that's unfair. Let's face it, everybody's out to make as much cash as possible, aren't they, in business? It doesn't matter whether it was Google or GeForce Now. And I think, as I said earlier, it's kind of, it's buyer beware, really. Anyway, it's a good little article, and it's good of him to whack that up there. Black Nuts giving 50% off. This is from last week, and I meant to bring it to your attention. So if you're looking to try Black Nut, it's really, at the moment, you can pick it up for about $7. I think it's normally about $12.99, which I think is fairly steep, quite honestly. $13, $14 a month. It's quite high compared to Game Pass Ultimate. But you can try it for half price, so give it a go. And as I've said, the key thing here is that it has these really good tools for families. You can lock down individual accounts to only play certain age groups and ratings on a game, and you can all play games at the same time. However, it's not something that is going to be unique to them forever, and we know that Microsoft are going to be bringing a family account option out in the future, although they are saying it will cost an additional amount, which is a bit of a shame, but there you go. This was young Ralph, good old Ralph. He always retweets my stuff, bless him. So I've been trying out NVIDIA GeForce the last week, first couple of days on priority tier for the next 3 months now, the 3080 tier. I don't know if it's the Chromecast update to Android 12, the fact I'm hardwired, or the tier I'm on, but the service is lit. And again, it just seems to be one of those things about where you're based, Sorry, I keep putting you up there, Vet. It's because I hadn't scrolled. Bless you, my friend. Where are we? Currently, you need to have the Xbox app on your phone or computer or device to read the chat. Okay, they're getting close to adding it. They're really working hard on it, aren't they? really working hard on it. Xbox gamers are not going to like cloud gaming. They will complain and cry forever. Yeah, but as I said, I think it's going to be really glacial, Christopher. It's not going to be. If it was to happen overnight, then I'd totally get that. I mean, we could be talking over 10 years before they finally say, and that's it for hardware. I think it's going to run in parallel for a long time. And you'll get more and more people going down that road, and they've got to improve the service as well. I mean, for a start, I want to see them pushing it out at least 1440, 60 before I would find myself playing most of the time on there, or a Twitch quality 1080p, where they really whack up the bit rate. It's like pucker, and they're using maybe AV1 or something. AV1? Avec 1? I forgot what it is. Why is it fluttering? Sony Rokk? Why is it flustering Sony Rokk? Curious. I don't think their sales are dipping. Well, I covered this a couple of times recently. I think what it is, Rudigs, is if you look at Sony, the company's accounts for the last couple of years, or quite a few years in truth, the biggest revenue earner for them, believe it or not, is the gaming, is actual sales of games. So for them to move to an all-you-can-eat buffet type service, particularly for their new games, frightens the hell out of them. Because if they suddenly saw their revenue drop, being their largest revenue stream, it could have implications for their shareholdings. So I think it's largely that. It's a big risk for them. If you are the second or third, and don't forget Xbox are behind PlayStation, they're also behind Nintendo in terms of game sales and hardware, I believe. Certainly game sales. So if you're behind those two, you've got nothing to lose, have you? Go for it, guys. Let's go for broke. And that's why they can use that kind of investment and make those kinds of things. I love it. I mean, I think it's great to see, because the way that Xbox is going is the right way for us as a consumer, except for one thing. I don't know about you guys, and I think we need to come up with a term for this, but I am struggling to focus on one game because I've got access to so many. So at the same time, we had Scorn, and then a day or three later, we had Plague Tale Requiem, and I'm finding that I'm going to dip into that one and dip into this, and then I've bought that game, so I really need to pay some attention to this one, and then Medium's come out and play. And I think the problem with the all-you-can-eat buffet thing that constantly throws new games is when you buy a game, you can't buy a game every week, or some people can, and God bless you. But most of us, I mean, I typically only ever buy 3-4 games a year, and then the rest of them I get as parts of free subscriptions or I rent them. So I think it actually has an effect on us, where we it's a bit like when streaming TV kicked off, Netflix, and now they're all out there, and you can just watch anything you want all the time. I find it really hard to sit and watch anything now for an hour. If I don't pick up my phone and check out tweets or something, it happens all the time. Bryant, I think I'm more upset that I'm losing my Stadia PUBG frying pan. Yeah, this was news last week that PUBG are basically turning off the Stadia servers. In fact, I think they may have done it already as well. I mean, I guess from their point of view, it's dying. Why spend more money? And of course, it's I don't know. Did they give you access to PUBG elsewhere? I know you can go and get your saves and stuff. I don't know. This was funny. Somebody got Mac OS running on a Steam Deck. Well, not as funny as it sounds, of course, because your Apple Macintoshes are based on Linux underneath the hood. All that the Mac OS is a very beautiful version of a Linux operating system. So the fact that someone got it to run on Steam Deck, given that it is indeed a Linux operating system, is not as silly as it sounds, other than Apple won't be very pleased about it. But yeah, I think they were the last one, weren't they, Chris? PUBG on Stadia. Wasn't that the last one that we'll ever see it on a cloud service? Shame, isn't it? Chicken Police, Amazon Luna. Oh man, Chicken Police, such a good game. What was it Chase was saying? Chase has got himself a Logitech G Cloud, and he's saying solid performance for cloud and remote play, excellent analog sticks, the device is comfortable, gives that an A+, and it's super light. Price may be a long-term challenge though. And again, you know, it's like, if you don't want to use your phone and you don't want to use your laptop or your Chromebook or what have you at home, and you want to take it out and about on your vacation or on a bus or a train or a ship or whatever, then I can absolutely see the use case. And if you're someone that travels or goes away a lot, stays away, absolutely. But if you're not, then, you know, you may want to be thinking about whether it's worth the $300. I know, for example, Renaissance Man Stuart, myself were talking earlier. He's sending back his Steam Deck as well, but he's going to get an iPad, which is, why not? I mean, again, it's a bigger screen than a Steam Deck. You can run GeForce Now and xCloud and so on in a browser, I think. I'm fairly certain. And you can hook it up to a controller. So there's many ways to skin a cat. That's all I'm saying. Did you finish Chicken Police? No, I didn't, my friend. And it's popped up on a couple of the different accounts that I've got. But I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm trying to think who did complete it. John, I think John completed it. I think. EA shutting down online services of some of their games, including Mirror's Edge, NBA Jam, On Fire Edition, Gatling, Gears, and so on January. That's interesting. EA. Yeah, well, I wonder if that's because they're going to be. I wonder if that's because they're looking to do a cloud service. You see, this is the thing. We have to read between the lines on a lot of these guys, don't we? Like Ubisoft as well, and so on. Chaps and chapesses, that is going to do us for today, because I don't want to be crashing into my good friend William's show. Wonder what he's streaming today. We could have a quick look and see, couldn't we? Let's pop across to... Oh, I'll tell you what, I was freaking annoyed today, guys. I got up to 1,850 subscribers, and then I refreshed the screen, and them freakers at YouTube had knocked 20 off. They keep doing this to me. So it dropped down to 1,830. But yeah, such is life. Now let me have a quick look over here at my subscribers. We'll find out what William's doing. Here he is. Here's Simply Pawned William. Oh, he's doing Sniper Elite 5. Awesome stuff. Right, get yourselves over there, guys, and tell him it's a raid from Rokk. And catch him on his brilliant. He's actually a brilliant game streamer. He really is. And he tends to stream the whole freaking day. So grab yourself a coffee and some food and sit there. And he'll probably invite you in as well, because he does the multiplayer Sniper Elite. So that'll be good. Right, I'm out of here. Thank you so much, guys. And I will see you tomorrow for the Rokk show. Brilliant. Would be great. Oh, hang on, Rokk. You forgot you very quickly. Oh, I don't like doing this to poor William. Let me just quickly show you this, guys, before you all shoot off. Giveaways. Here we are. Right, I'm going to drag it over here. Here it comes. Boom. This is live. You can win yourself a copy of the Callisto Protocol, which just looks stunning. And it's on all of those platforms. PS5, Xbox Series X or S, Xbox One, PS4, PC. So if you win, you can have it on any one of those platforms. Okay, so we're going to be agnostic. Plus, I will throw in 60 days of GeForce 3080 PlayStation Plus Premium or Game Pass Ultimate, so you can play your version with those. And all you got to do is go to rokk.co, rokk.co/call, short for Callisto, and do what it says. Now, unfortunately, I can't rig this one so that Team Rokk members are automatically in it. But just you don't have to do anything massively, to be fair. You're already subscribers and you've already been to my channel, so just do the tweet or whatever it is and you're in it anyway. And then I will be drawing this the day the game comes out, which is the 2nd of December, I think, so you've got loads of time. to win yourself that one. That is not going to be the only draw. We're going to have a big old giveaway tomorrow as well, and I may make that one for members only as an apology for this one. We'll have to wait and see. And we've still got John and myself still got a big announcement to come next month, so stay tuned. Right, let's get the hell out of here. Thank you, everybody. You have been amazing. Thank you, Stu. I really appreciate it, my friend. I will thank you, Geek. You guys take care, and I will see you tomorrow with my lovely rock show buddies. Clocking out.